Hello! Welcome to a meeting of the Midnight Book Society. Technically, now it is the Midnight Book and Film Society because I am doing a film component to this club now. So that will be announced on my other channel, Nightmares and Nostalgia, soon. But today we're talking books. So no film today, we're talking books. I've got my peeps in the comments. Katrina, I miss you. Hello. Hey, Andrew. Hey. I wanted to, it's like I should say yo, but I tried to do it hey. Anyway, whatevs. How is everybody doing? Before we get into the book discussion, I do want to ask what everyone is reading currently, or maybe a most recent movie that you watched and enjoyed. Let me know in the comments below. We will be talking spoilers, but not for a little while, so you're safe. If you haven't read the book and you want to read it, then you're safe for now, but I will give you an extra warning before I go into spoilers. I will tell you guys today the book we're discussing, in case you don't know, even though it is in the title, but in case you didn't see, The Bone Weaver's Orchard by Sarah Reed. It is a YA book, or at least it's classified on Goodreads as YA. I will say I think it read a little bit more middle grade, but that didn't bother me per se. But it is technically classified as young adult. But yes, what is everyone reading and doing before we get into the nitty-gritty of the book? Hi, Amanda. It's great to see you. I loved some of your comments. Guys, if you don't know, I do have a book club Discord, and we talk about the book as we're reading the book each month, and there's a way you can hide spoilers, which I love. And Amanda had some great things to say on the Discord for this book, so did a lot of other people too. So I might end up reading some of people's comments if that's okay later. I just opened book mail from Criminali, but other than that, I've been cleaning up the apartment. Ooh, and setting up bookshelves. I can't wait to see. Guys, I cleaned my room. If you can tell, it's like actually neat back here. Look at the shelves. They're all organized. It looks so good to look in the background and see it all nice. I should have turned my little glitter lamp on. This is a glitter lamp right there, but it's not on. And there's a smudge on my computer that's distracted me. I hope it's not been too hard to set up your shelves, Andrew. I can't wait to see how it looks. Reading The Getaway by Lamar Giles. It's really good. I'm working on my temperature blanket. That is so awesome, Katrina. I think, the yarn you had picked out for the temperature blanket. I think that is so awesome. I can't crochet. I can't do anything. So to me, it's like very, very admirable that you can do that, and impressive in my opinion. And I'm not even joking. Yo, Alicia. Guys, we're just talking casual before we jump into the book talk. I really just want to see how you guys are doing, what everyone's reading. I can tell it looks great. Thank you. It's very clean. It took 2 whole days to clean this room. Like, whole days. We're talking about freaking 5+ hours. It was bad. It was real bad. It was the worst it's ever been in here. You couldn't see the floor. It was so bad. And then it's the little things that take time when you clean your room. And it's like, put this little knickknack here and there. And that's the stuff that kind of builds and takes up a lot of time. Hello. I'm 50% through. The eyes are the best part. Shelves look great. Thank you. Are you liking the eyes are the best part? I've heard some people love it and other people are just like, meh. But I know a lot of people who love that book. And I am contemplating reading it for a video project about reading books inspired by the director Lucio Fulci, because he's got like an obsession with eyes. Also, he directed a lot of zombie movies. There's a lot of things I could do if I did a vlog reading inspired by his directing style. I think that'd be fun. And that book, spoiler, would be one of the books I would read because it's got an eyeball on the cover, and if you've seen any of his movies, he's clearly obsessed with eyes. We canceled our weekly game night, ice, and 50 mile/hour winds equals not great. So I actually get to come onto the live stream. Yay! I'm glad you're here. I'm so happy to see you. And by the way, thank you everyone for your sweet comments about Jackson on my vlog. I've been seeing them. I just haven't responded yet, but it means a lot to me. Thank you all so very much. Thank you. I worked so hard on them. I really did. And then I love how you could see, if you guys can tell, this is Gus from Cinderella. Look at him. He's cute. And then Amy got me this. It's a peep light. I should have turned him on. but it's a light. I am reading A Haunting on the Hill by Elizabeth Hand and Night of the Goat Boy, which is a Shivers book, which I have that one. I hope you're liking that. That one has like a gnarly cover for being a Shivers book. The ending of The Eyes Are the Best Part is so good. You got me excited to read it. I finished The Haunting of Elkwood. I've got to try to get to that. Uh-oh, but you really didn't like it. I need some McCamey or something to recover. I was actually playing around with trying to squeeze in a Robert McCammon book this month, but I think I'm going to run out of time. Because I still haven't read the book Mine, which feels like it would be a great Valentine's month read. Katrina, I know you didn't like it. I'm sorry. But just because of the name, it seems like it would be very appropriate. That'd be a great video. I love eyes, so this felt right up my alley. I'm really digging it. I love the peep light. Me too. It's so cute. So it does glow. It's just not on right now. Eyes Are the Best Part is so good. I'm so glad to hear so many positive things about it. Hi, Nicole. Just started Pay the Piper. Are you liking it? I think I'm going to start that. So in case you guys are wondering what I'm reading, I am currently rereading The Exorcist. I'm about a little over halfway through. I think it's like 60% in. Yeah, I'm 211 pages out of 377 or 78. Yeah, it's a reread, so I already know I love this book, but it's great. I'm listening to the audio for the first time. The first time I read this way back when I didn't even know I liked to read, I read it physically only. So it's getting a little different experience with the audio, which I like. So I'm currently doing that, but over the weekend, this weekend is going to be the Wasted Weekend, and that is a mini readathon hosted by Ali from Criminali, and it's basically like the halfway mark until we get to Garb August. So it's like Garb August 3.5. So for that, I'm going to be reading the second book in the Flowers in the Attic series. So I'm going to be reading Petals on the Wind. So yes. And I also might, just because of Valentine's Day, read The Har, which I'm sure will take me like, I could read this tomorrow for Valentine's Day. I hear it's like monster related, but also kind of romance related. Anyway, I'm excited about this one. Those are my reading plans and what's going on in my life reading wise. I liked mine. The MC was totally unhinged. Here's the opposite opinion. I hated mine so much. McCamey gave Boomer, who gave up in that book. No, McCamey. How is it holding up on the reread? The audio is really good. I will agree. The audio is really good. And I thought, from people describing the voice of the demon in the audiobook, I thought maybe they just piped in the audio from the movie. But no, it's William Peter Blatty, the author, voicing the demon voice, I think. I mean, he's doing the regular everything else in the audiobook, so I think it's just him making his voice all deep and scary. I'm like, oh, bitch, William Peter Blatty, he's freaking hardcore. Like, he's kind of scary. What the hell? Anyway, it is really good, and it's holding up pretty well on reread. I do say, though, that I'm not as gripped as the first time, and I think that's normal. I mean, I've experienced this movie based on the book so many times, so it's like I know the story pretty well. But it's nice to revisit it. I'm actually doing it in honor of February Rewind, but I hope it's okay, Andrew. I know your prompt says to reread a book you've already reread, but I only have ever reread 2 books, and I don't want to reread either one of those because it was recent that I reread them. So I'm like, well, this is just a one-time reread, not a double reread, but I hope it still counts, Andrew. I know you're pretty laid back, so I'm sure it's fine. I am just about to start Exit Strategy by Martha Wells, which is the 3rd part of the Murderbot Diaries. 4th part? It's one of them. That sounds so much fun. Like so much fun. I can talk. Cameron, I miss you. I haven't read this, but I just wanted to say hi. Oh, I'm excited about Petals on the Wind. You're one of the inspirations of why I'm reading it. You're like, oh yeah, it's crazy. And I'm like, ooh, this sounds like a lot of fun. And I'm keeping up the tradition. I know this is, I don't think VC Andrews is trash or garbage, but I'm using it for Garb August because Flowers in the Attic I read last year during Garb August. I just happened to pick it up out of nowhere, so I was like, yeah, I'll just continue on with the tradition and read the next book in the series during the Wasted Weekend. So I do not think VC Andrews is garbage. I love The Har. I'm so excited to read it. I'm so excited. I'm reading Do What Godmother Says, but also considering the horror for tomorrow. I think it's going to be a quick read. And you know what's odd is David Sodergren, his books don't often have audio, but this one does, which is very rare for him. I think he's becoming, I hope, because he deserves it. I think he's becoming semi-mainstream now, because I know Gabby Reeds was singing his praises. Like, she just discovered him at the end of last year, and I think he's really kind of blown up after that a little bit. But I have been singing his praises. I think the first book I read, no, okay, never mind. The first book I read from his was just personal, like, for no reason. But then I did make one of his other books, one of my book club books years ago. Night Shoot was one that we had as an official book club book. So this is one of the few I haven't read. I would say that there's 3 or 4 of his that I haven't read, this being one of them. But I've heard great things, and I think the audiobook's super short. So if I do use audio, I'll read along. I really liked Petals on the Wind, one of my faves in the series. You got me hyped, Amanda. Yes, that's good to know. I'm so excited. Tomorrow, I'm going to be reading for like 72 hours straight. You're not going to stay up, though, for 72 hours. So today, I've not read like anything. You need to hype and like save up the energy, Andrew, to do the 72 hours in a row. You need to save your energy, your reading energy. I think it's just William Peter Blatty doing the demon voice, which is crazy because I don't know why, and I envisioned them piping in a different voice, but it's him and it's crazy and I love it. I read the whole Flowers in the Attic series over and over again as a teen. I love it, and I just discovered it like last year. So, I mean, I love the first book, but I'm thinking I'm going to like the series a lot. Currently reading The Monkey short story by Stephen King to get ready for the movie. I should read that too. I'm taking a break on King. It's just, part of my, it's my shtick now that I'm like anti-King, quote, anti, but I'm not. Well, I am a little, but not really. Hello, Minnie. Hello. I like fumbled over that whole sentence. I still need to read Petals on the Wind. I think it's going to be fun. I think it's going to be really good and wild. Well, wild in a gothic kind of way. You are doing one of the prompts, which is to reread something, but in a different format. Oh, I forgot about that prompt. Duh. Okay, that makes sense. So that's 100% okay. And it'd even be okay if you threw out all the rules. Thank you, Andrew. Oh, you're reading the horror tomorrow too. We should have a horror party. That sounds really weird, but whatever. We should have a party. The monkey looks hilarious. I'm just going to be awake at normal times, but like reading like all day. Okay, but taking a break on Saturday to watch your Patreon sprints. Oh, I forgot about my Patreon sprints. I gotta schedule those. So I won't be going as Pure Ham. Well, that's nice. Thank you for wanting to hang with me on Saturday. I read Bone Weaver's Orchard in 2019 and gave it 5 stars. Mindy, since you've brought up the book, now we can kind of segue a little bit. We're not going into spoiler territory now. I know Cameron didn't read it. Andrew, I'm pretty sure you didn't read it. You're just here to be sweet. Nice, thank you. But do you remember what you loved about it, Mindy? Any detail, even like vague memories, if it's like a feeling, a vibe. Why did you love it so much, if you can recall? I'd love to hear your opinions. I read Dolls in the Attic way back when I was a teen in the 90s because I liked the movie. I think you meant Flowers, right? Had to be one of the very, very few who went in with zero idea about the incest. I reread My Sweet Audrina this year. It was wild. Then I went on to read everything by V.C. Andrews. She is great. And I already so Andrew Niederman later, like after she passed away, he basically writes her books under her name. And I like Andrew Niederman, so I kind of figured, like, once you read or have heard of Pin, which may or may not have some similarities to Flowers in the Attic, then him being like her ghostwriter or whatever you call it makes perfect sense. It really does. I didn't read it, but I'll be watching till the end and just chilling. Aw, thank you, Andrew. Are you sure you don't mind getting it spoiled? I don't think it's a book you'd necessarily love, per se. I mean, I don't know why you even have that opinion. There's really nothing bad about it at all. No, not tomorrow. It's going to be on Saturday. I wish it was tomorrow because that would be extra fun, but it's going to be Saturday. I don't know if you're going to be home or if you're going to go, if you're driving out of town this weekend, but maybe I'll be able to see you. Well, I say see. Maybe I'll be able to see you there for a little while if you're around. I'm sorry. You're sick. I hope you feel better. We should have a reading party. I don't mind. And it's Saturday. Yes, it is Saturday. Flowers in the attic. Doy. Dollenganger's dolls. That's why I was like, I think it's an accident. Got dolls on the brain. And I've got that book. I don't think it's near me. That Doll Bones book. I actually bought it when I was hanging out with Cameron and Benjamin. And I think it's called Doll Bones, right? Doll Bones. Yeah, Doll Bones. I thought there was like a "the" in front of it, but no, it's just Doll Bones by Holly Black. That's a book with dolls that I want to read really bad. Very random, but dolls reminded me of Doll Bones. From what I remember, I really felt for the boy in the story. It hit hard emotionally, and it got super creepy at the end. Obviously, you were going to answer that. Sorry, didn't mean to answer it. I'm just here to hang. I couldn't get into this one, unfortunately. I like middle grade vibes, but this one felt slow. I can relate to this, Melissa, and I think a lot of people who read this book can also relate because at times it was very slow, even though it's a relatively short book. And I'll get into why I thought that in a minute, but I didn't have a terrible time or anything. I'm settling on a 3.5 for this one, but it's like a high 3.5, almost like 3.75 territory because I did like the writing. I thought it was beautiful. I loved the atmosphere. In fact, the atmosphere was my favorite part of the story. It did feel like it had kind of semi-gothic vibes and atmosphere, if that makes sense. Gothic, not like adult gothic, but like, creepy. Even though it's a school, it felt like an orphanage of sorts. Like all these boys kind of feeling like they didn't belong anywhere else and struggling at this school and also mean as hell teachers in some respects. And I was like, bitch, if I had these teachers, I don't know what I'd do, but I wouldn't like it, basically. Saturday works too. I was going to go see Benjamin for Valentine's Day, but I don't know if I'll be well enough. I'm so sorry. That's so sad. That is really a bummer. You definitely shouldn't drive a long way if you're feeling bad, but I hope you feel better super soon. Maybe you'll even be better by tomorrow. Well, I don't know, but maybe you'll be better by tomorrow. It could happen. It definitely had gothic vibes. Agree. 1,000% agree. Has anyone else, out of curiosity, has anyone else ever read anything by Sarah Reed, the author of The Bone Weaver's Orchard? I just want to know if she's, written other young adult books, if she's written a lot of middle grade. I just clicked on her Goodreads link just to see if anything jumps out at me here. A lot of anthologies she's in. Oh, well, never mind. I was about to say, oh, look, this is what she's currently reading, but it hasn't been updated in like 2 years, so she's probably not using it. All right. Yeah, it's a lot of collections that she must be featured in. There is one, it looks like a standalone, called Out of Water. Short stories. Okay, so that's short stories too. So I'm not sure, but it seems like The Bone Weaver's Orchard might be one of her only standalones, at least that I can see on her first page of Goodreads. I could be missing some, but it'll be interesting to see what she does because this was published back in 2019 and there doesn't seem to be a lot of standalone updates of anything since then, at least from what I'm seeing here. I could be missing something. I love the writing style and the atmosphere, but the pacing really killed it for me. I gave it a 2.5 out of 5. Did anyone else use audio? I'm only curious because I always think that audio always biases me to a book, and I mean that in a kind of like the opposite way of you might assume. I'm saying it biases me in a pro way. Like it makes me feel better about a book than I normally would feel. I think if I was reading it just physically, I probably would have had a little bit harder of a time with the pacing. I probably would have been bothered by the pacing a little bit more. However, audio, I gotta say, audio freaking saves the day because it never felt like overly hard or a big struggle at any point. But again, I'm biased. Audio really helps, honestly. So I totally understand, Nicole, why you would give it a 2.5 out of 5, because I did even notice the pacing issues, even though I was mostly just listening. Like, I wasn't even reading along like I usually would do. I think I was diamond painting. So if I'm able to feel the pacing issues while doing that, then I know I would have felt it even more had I just been reading with my eyeballs, as my friend Kat likes to say, reading with my eyeballs. I read Out of Water, which was a short story collection. Oh, cool. Did you like that? You answered my question before I even asked it. I loved her collection too. And I have her new short story collection as well as Root Rot and Other Grim Tales, but I haven't read it yet. All those sound fun. Now, Other Grim Tales, or Root Rot and Other Grim Tales, that almost sounds like fairy tale inspired, which would totally work for Folklore February, which is a readathon hosted by my friend Kat. So how fun is that? This definitely had like, not fairy tale vibes, but kind of dark, gothic, creepy kid vibes, if that makes sense. Even though the kids weren't even evil or bad or anything like that. I have her short story collection that she put out with Bad Hand Books, but I haven't read it yet. Well, I hope you enjoyed that one a little bit more, since I know you just gave Boneweaver's Orchard 2.5, but we're going to get into specifics in a little while, but we're still talking general stuff right now. She's really just taking her time with that book from 2 years ago. Sarah Reed on her currently reading. I was like, she really is taking her time. I started the ebook, but I didn't finish only because I just wasn't in the mood for it. Totally understand. Mine was an ebook. Maybe I should try with audio. I do think the audio really helped. And the pacing, I will say, and this isn't really a spoiler, it's a very vague thing about the ending of the book. It really does pick up its pacing in the last third of the book. And actually, there were some complaints about how the pacing switched very kind of almost abruptly from kind of leisurely slow burn to wah! Not literally like wah, it was more serious, but fast, like really fast, really crazy, bam, 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 bam. At least in my opinion. I did the audio and really enjoyed it. Yeah, I liked the audio. And it got so dark at the end. Agree. There was a lot of things revealed at the end, but this is why I think I landed on a good rating. So overall, like in the moment, besides feeling a little bit of pacing issues, like feeling a little bit of the drag, I think there was nothing else that really jumped out about why am I even rating this a 3.5. I don't know, I just rate it higher. But I think I landed in the right spot rating wise, because when I look back, it's a blur. And usually when I feel that way, it's like a 3.5 or a really low 4. So I think, even though especially people who know me think a 3.5 is like me hating on a book, I am not hating on it. The writing was good, but it just wasn't perfect. And for some reason, it didn't stick with me. And I've got some theories as to why, but I'll get into that in a little bit. I think it was really like Twisted Tooth Fairy for Root Rot, if I'm correctly interpreting the cover correctly. Now that sounds fun. Twisted Tooth Fairy, heck yeah. It really didn't feel slow to me, even reading with my eyeballs. And just to quote you, if this is okay to quote, I think it was you who said this in the Discord. And I only remember, I don't have this great memory from like weeks ago when you said this, but I did review the Discord earlier today. And I think you called it, oh my God, you said something like Nancy Drew, not Nancy Drew on acid, but how did you phrase it? Hold on. Gothic Nancy Drew gone rabid, if you will. Yes, I thought that was a great way to describe it, because especially the beginning's very Nancy Drew, but even towards the end, where our main character, Charlie, is, going through the school, kind of finding and discovering closed off passageways and hidden areas, which I think was one of my favorite parts of the book, was especially the first time he goes exploring and finds like the hidden areas and the creepy areas. But after a while, during the crescendo or the climax at the end, I just felt like he just kept like looking all around the hidden part. I'm like, okay, enough already. Get out of this hidden part of the school. I don't know. There was just something about the end that I didn't absorb fully, I think. But I loved your description of, just to quote it again, Gothic Nancy Drew gone rabid. I thought that was so wonderful, because I did feel the Nancy Drew vibes, with Charlie basically trying to uncover the mystery the entire time. And then the rabid part definitely comes in near the end, where the pacing picks up. But maybe I just have a high tolerance for slowness. I will say, And I love the sloth. I didn't even know there was a sloth emoji, but that is amazing. I will say I love slow burns, but I think I'm kind of picky with slow burns, and sometimes it does get to me. And it's funny because the last couple great reads I've had are all slow burns, and I'm like, huh. But this one, just for some reason, I think I'm going to go into my theory now, and it's not a spoiler type of theory, but my theory is we got bits and pieces of Charlie in his childhood, in his past, I should say, because he is a child when he's at school, but we're talking about his past before he came to the school. You do get a sense that he's kind of lost, he's missing his family, and he's lost in life, not like literally lost, but for some reason I didn't fully connect with Charlie, and I think that is why the pacing was so jarring for me, because usually a slow burn does not bother me. There's tons of slow burns I could name off the top of my head that I loved. Harvest Home is one that jumps right out. Like, that is like the slowest of the slowest slow burn. This one is just like the characters I wasn't invested for some reason. And it's not even like Harvest Home, to keep going with the comparison. It's not like that one has great characters either, in terms of you're not really necessarily in love with the characters. They're not perfect, but I don't know, there was just something about the vibes in that book that was done really well, that the slow burnness of it did not bother me. We know a 3 stars when you really have your knives out. A 3-star is kind of pretty low for me. It's kind of like, I would just say it's more of like a meh, a 3, a flat 3. And for most people, like, a 3 is talked about in a more positive light, where me, it's a more negative connotation, like meh, like really negative meh, like feel. I don't know. To me, it's because I very rarely dislike books. Not dislike. A 3 isn't a dislike, but I very rarely feel meh about a book. So I guess that's why a 3 is so, for me, more negative. I landed on the same rating, like a low 4. Yeah, I think that's a good rating. I do remember being shocked by the reveals, and that's pretty much it. That's the thing, like, if you ask me now, I know the major reveal, and guys, we are about to get into spoilers here, so Cameron, you might want to jump off if you ever want to read this, but I'm so glad you stopped by, and I love you. But yes, we are going to go into spoilers. Since Andrew doesn't care, I'm not too worried about you, Andrew, because you said you're cool, but I'm just giving a warning regardless. The reveal at the end, all I remember was the headmaster dude hiding some shit. The nurse lady, I suspected her. I was like, she's too nice. She's his only ally. And then she was acting all sus. I don't know. I had some qualms with her, like, niceness. I was like, this has to be something like throwing us off or something. But if you ask me like the specifics, I remember somebody was related to somebody else, like the gardener dude and something or other. See, like there's no real memory, which is like, okay, it definitely deserves low 4 or 3.5 territory, because if I can't even like tell you what it was that was the reveal, then that's pretty bad. That's pretty bad. Also, I felt so bad for Charlie. Literally, he was getting hurt and beat up from day 1 in the school. Poor kid. Freaking, I can't remember if he got a beating that first day, but like the first boy comes in and he's like, do this for me, clean my shoes. And he's like stepping on glass, breaking his arm. I was like, damn. And the only person who's nice to him is when they go into town or into church or whatever. And there's this old lady who used to date the headmaster, and she's like gossiping, like, hey, I used to date him. And he's like, Charlie's like, what? And he gets the scoop. For some reason, I love that part with Charlie and the old lady. And she was like one of the only people nice to him. It's like, poor Charlie. But for some reason, my poor Charlie feelings didn't go deeper. And I don't know why. I did, haha. It had some real old-fashioned Hardy Boy YA detective vibes. I really think your description was amazing. I really loved that a lot. And other people had great thoughts on it too. Stephanie said this was a good pick for January, had an immersive, moody, and gothic atmosphere, which felt wintry. I don't even remember if there was a specific passage that mentioned winter or cold. I think there were some mentions of cold, like it was cold in the school. However, for some reason, it felt very wintry, even without a ton of wintry descriptions, which is kind of funny. It was just, I think, maybe the gothicness of the atmosphere in general. that made it feel wintry, but I don't know. What do you guys think? How did you feel about it in terms of the wintry vibes? Did you think it had that, or did you not really get that from the story? But to continue on with what Stephanie said, I enjoyed the main character, Charlie, a lot, and his truest advocate, which, since it's a spoiler, but we're talking spoilers, I can say, of course, is the gardener, Sam. There was a bit more body horror than anticipated. See, I don't remember that. So if squeamish, it would be advisable to circumvent certain passages. The ending did feel a little unfinished and not entirely satisfying for what the main character had to endure, but overall 4 stars. Now, our good friend Goat, he's in a lot of my Discord servers, and we just call him Goat, which I love. He's awesome. Goat said, finished it last night. Kind of uncomfortable read for me. I don't like things happening to children. Some people are very sensitive to that. Not a bad read by any stretch, but I doubt I'll be coming back to it. If feeling vulnerable, sneaking around, and bugs are your thing, you'll enjoy this book. It did have a lot of bugs. Oh! That reminds me. Okay, I don't know if anyone else is doing, Sarah from Wicked Reading, if anyone follows her channel. She's got this great horror bingo. Oh, but that's about a cover, isn't it? There's one about read a book with creepy crawlies. I just can't remember if it's in the story or on the cover or both. There's definitely not creepy crawlies on the cover of this book, but I forgot that there's bugs, and bugs do play a big part in this story. So I gotta reread the prompt again, but I believe I maybe could count this one, but maybe not. If it's a cover prompt, I can't, but we'll see. I will look at it later, but I totally forgot about that. I forgot about the bugs. Let's see what everyone else said. Amy said, it took me way longer to finish this book than it should have, considering its length. Now, this is something I did keep hearing from multiple people on the Discord, and she says it was slow for the first 2/3, and then the ending felt a bit rushed. Kind of wished all the reveals and action in the last 1/3 would have happened a bit sooner and been more spaced out. However, Amanda, who's with us in the chat right now, she said, let's see. She had some good thoughts. I hope you don't mind me reading this, Amanda, if you're still here. I'm so sorry that I'm just like spilling you guys' opinions, but I think it's fascinating to see everyone's, varied opinions on a book. It's wonderful. That's why I like doing these live shows and getting everyone's feedback and stuff. Amanda said, I like the characters, storyline, gothic vibes, and gruesome bits. Although there were some dark themes, with the protagonist being only 13, this could almost be a middle grade book, and I do agree with that. The family tree, the Earl, Sam's mother, Headmaster Barnes, and Martin Grace was a little hard for me to follow. I did agree with this too, because that is the part, when I'm recapping it just from my own memory, I'm like, I just remember that somebody was related to this guy, and then this guy was freaking fooling around with somebody else and had a kid or something, or other and was hiding them, and I don't know. Anyway, all that, the details are gone about that. So I agree with it being hard to follow at times, but I got it all straightened out eventually, Amanda said. One thing that didn't work for me was the pacing. All the action was jammed in the last 30% without pause. Felt jarring and didn't flow with the first 70% of the book, but had a fun time overall. And Tay Ben said the same thing. 4 stars. It read like a middle grade minus the graphic bits. But she says for her, it's a good thing because she loves spooky middle grade. So, similar thoughts there, and I do like that too. It's great to see the similarities and the differences. Now, I will say, so Charlie is getting his arm, his cast taken off to, I guess, change his cast, essentially. And essentially, his, arm's on backwards or something. I can't remember, but, wouldn't the doctor be like, what the hell? Or wouldn't Charlie or somebody be like, what the hell's going on? For some reason, that didn't clue anybody in. The doctor later was like, I should have known. Yeah, bitch, you should have paid more attention that this nurse is always around when all these people are getting hurt. Anyway, Charlie did go through it. He really did. Poor Charlie. But again, why did I not feel more connected to him? That is just a puzzle that I can't solve, and I just can't answer it. I don't know. Oh, thank you, Amanda. I'm sorry again for just putting you and your thoughts on the spot there, but. And Christine said 3.5 kind of area. She said, I like it, but I don't think it will stick with me. And that's exactly how I feel. And that's why I feel like 3.5 is the perfect rating for this, because if you ask me in another 2 weeks anything about the story, I'll be like, I don't know. Whereas a 5 or a 4.5 or even a 4 usually sticks with me a bit more, at least the major details. Like, there are major details in this book that I have since forgotten, and it's only been, I think I read it the last book of January. No. I wonder if my spreadsheet shows when I read it. Oh no, it was my last book of January. So yeah, last book of January. So I'm guessing I probably finished it like the last day or the day before the last day of January, which, it's only 14 days ago, 13 days ago, if it was the day before the last day. How could I forget that much in 2 weeks? Or even less than 2 weeks? I don't know. And I have a pretty good memory with books. So that's why I think it's more kind of, it signifies how I felt about it a little bit more. I did tell Paul I didn't think this would be an overly long chat, because I do think a YA book or a middle grade book, sometimes there's not as much to dive deep into when it comes to the discussion, but I still think this was a good pick. I'm still glad that I chose it, because for my book club, this is kind of something a little bit lighter, a little bit slower. And also, I don't usually pick YA books. We have another book later in the year. I think it's for September, and it's a middle grade book, not a YA, but it's circus themed, and it's not really horror. It's more, I don't even know what you would call it, but so I knew this was going to be kind of like an experiment, a gamble in terms of the kind of book it is, and picking that for my book club. Usually I pick a little bit more gnarly things or obscure things, or this one, I think what put it on my radar was I was looking up books with cold vibes, and it came up. Saw it was YA, but I was like, who cares? Let me just try it out. Why not? So the other one in September is going to be Circus of Stolen Dreams. And that one actually has pretty high ratings, even higher ratings than The Bone Weaver's Orchard. The Bone Weaver's Orchard, the average rating is 3.73 out of 678 ratings, whereas the Circus of Stolen Dreams, 797 ratings with an average of 4.01. So generally, even more well-liked than The Bone Weaver's Orchard. So I'm excited about the other younger geared book we have. But, it's a gamble in the sense that you don't know how deep the discussion can go. Some YA books are pretty dark, and you can go kind of deep, but I'm still glad I picked this one, even though I do think it's not as successful of a book club book in terms of there's a lot of opinions that are like 4 than like 3. Well, that's not really too big of a gap, but some people were like meh, other people were like I really liked it. So there was a difference of opinion. It wasn't a hit with as many people, but like I said, it's always fun to experiment with the kind of books I pick, and it's always fun to see everyone's different opinions, etc., etc. I also liked that Charlie is like a genuinely weird kid. I did like that. He wasn't a typical hothead brave boy hero, true. And some of those boys he was interacting with at the school really pissed me off, but I was glad that I don't even know his name, the character's name, but the head boy at the school, I did like how, even though he put on a tough front in front of all the other boys, when he was alone with Charlie, he was kind of nicer to him a little bit and was a little on his side. So I thought that was cool, even though he was kind of like a hothead brave boy or like a big time guy in the school. I think it was cool how he, I think, had like a heart deep down. So that was nice. I did like him, and how at the end it seemed like him and Charlie were cool. So yeah, closing out the Circus of Stolen Dreams really quick. I wonder if I know anybody else, just if you're looking to hear about other people who have read this. Now, Mother Horror, a lot of you guys might know her on Instagram. She's Sadie Hartman. She's written a book about, best horror books to check out before you die. She gave this a 5 out of 5. And she compared it to John Bellairs and, let's see, I'm just trying to get the gist of what she felt. Yeah, she thought she loves coming of age, and she definitely felt like this had coming of age vibes, which I do agree with. It definitely had some of those staples you see in standard coming of age. And she's a sucker for that, and so am I. But again, with coming of age, I like a lot more character work, like a lot more. Like I would have liked more character and maybe even less mystery, perhaps, or maybe I would have liked just as much mystery, but maybe spread out differently or paced differently. To me, the Doctor's lack of action, as well as the other characters, felt like a commentary on the way authority figures often turn a blind eye to institutional abuse. I do think that's a great observation, and I actually totally agree that probably is a very astute analysis of it, because when you really think about it, she had been there for so long, no one is suspecting anything, and if they do, like you said, they just kind of ignore it, turn a blind eye to it. And like you said, it could be a commentary on that, especially because, the type of people who were in the school in the story were, people who weren't necessarily, they were well off, but they're like kind of lost in life in a way. A lot of the boys didn't seem to belong in society, even though they're well off. Some of the boys did belong and were just normal guys, normal boys, but I don't think everybody at the school was. Like, I forgot the other character that poor Charlie befriends, and then he freaking gets taken and disappears. I did think that part was sad. Just when he makes a friend, the friend gets stolen away. So it's like there is a commentary about how the least popular kids or the weirdest kids or the ones who are the outcasts can disappear without too many questions. So, kind of a discussion of, who's worthy and who isn't in society, maybe, or who society deems unworthy. Not truly that they are unworthy, but there is a lot of varied ratings on Goodreads for this book, and I think that's why it has a 3.73, which is still pretty high. Author, let's see, I think I just saw Jonathan Jans. Yeah, author Jonathan Jans gave it a 5-star, though. And he was a panelist with the author at StokerCon in 2019. He said he was so impressed with her comments and personality that he bought the Bone Weaver's Orchard. That's nice. She must be really cool then. Oh, and I didn't even realize, that makes sense. I mean, I knew it was set back in the day. I just didn't realize it was the 20s. See, that sometimes historically set stuff can be a big hit or miss for me. I think that's part of it too. It doesn't always hit right. But this one, kind of in the middle for me, but didn't hate it. I want to make that clear because it sounds like I'm saying a lot of negatives, but there were a lot of positives too. Like I said, it's hard for a book to do atmosphere well. Not every book can capture the kind of atmosphere it's going for, but this one, it had freaking atmosphere to the max. I thought that was the best part of the book, especially for me. That was my personal favorite part of the book, at least. So I think my final thoughts, just as we wrap this up, guys, if you want to leave your rating, if you want to leave any final thoughts before we start to wrap things up. Like I said, I knew this was going to be a shorter conversation. The book is short, it's YA, and I also made this kind of late at night and at the last minute. So I want to make sure I get to everybody's thoughts and opinions before I wrap up. But in summary, for me, just to kind of reiterate, solid, but not overly special. However, it would not stop me from reading more from her in the future. I would definitely be eager to read more from her, especially because of the atmosphere in general, as I said. That being so well done, that's a big thing to me in book is the atmosphere. In fact, some of my favorite books of last year, it was because of the atmosphere, and it's similar to an atmosphere like this book had. So I'm talking specifically about books like Dark Matter by Michelle, I never know how to say her last name, Paver, or I don't think it's Pavier. Paver? Anyway, Paver. Wonderful book, slow burn, creeping dread, eerie, not gothic like this, but like slow burn, dread filled, just something dark about it. When a book can do that, or when an author, I should say, can do that, it's impressive because it takes skill. It really does. And this author really conveyed a great, dark, eerie atmosphere, I think, very successfully. So I'm not trying to, have it all be like it wasn't a success, because I think it was overall. I think a lot of people had a lot of things they liked about it, and so did I. And as I said, I would be totally gung-ho to read more from her. For some reason, I totally forgot about the insects, but I can't wait to, when I get off, I've been working on my journal today, I'm gonna go check the horror bingo prompt and what it is, if I can count this book for it or not, we'll see. But guys, I want to thank you for joining me. I know this is short and sweet, but sometimes that's what a book discussion kind of just is, short and sweet. And there's nothing wrong with that. That's kind of what the book was trying to be, was short and sweet. So the discussion should match it, I guess, or try to match it. But if you're looking for what we're currently reading, just a heads up before I leave, our current book for February is Pay the Piper, and it's written by Daniel Kraus. He basically co-wrote it. So he found a manuscript, a lost manuscript of George A. Romero's about the story set in the Louisiana Bayou. I live in Louisiana. And so he decided to finish it with the blessing of George A. Romero's estate. So Pay the Piper, it's called, and I'm excited. I think I'm going to start that whenever I finish The Exorcist, The Horror, and Petals on the Wind, which is like 3 books. I will be starting Pay the Piper next, and I think that's going to be next week. So if I start it next week, then it's probably going to have the book club discussion, the live show. I'm probably going to have it the first week of March, if you guys are wondering. And I'll try to give a bigger heads up this time. So Pay the Piper is the current book. There's still time to join in. There is an audiobook, there is an ebook. However, both cost money, but maybe you can check your library if you want to join in and you could find a copy, but I could not find it through my library personally. But yes, I'm excited. I've got the ebook and the audiobook, so that's how I'm going to read it, with both, and I'm excited for it. So I hope you guys will join me for that one if it sounds interesting to you. And again, I will let you know, hopefully with a bigger heads up, for the live discussion. Thank you for hanging, Andrew. I appreciate you. Thank you for coming. I know it was last minute. Thank you, Jez. I'm excited for this month's read. Me too. I haven't read a lot of books of the Bayou setting, so I'm super hyped. If you want another good Bayou setting, Gone South by Robert McCammon. Not all of it's in the Bayou, but parts take place in the Bayou, and it's great. It's very good, and it's kind of funny. It's got like moments of humor that I found really great. Thank you for hanging, Katrina. I miss you and I love you. Thank you for coming, and thank you for your wonderful comments on the Discord. It was really awesome to be able to see those comments, and to thank you for letting me quote them here, because I thought freaking Gothic Nancy Drew Gone Rabid was the perfect description. I'm so glad you're enjoying the club too. That means so much to me. This club, I think this is the 4th year? Maybe it's the 3rd year. I have to look up. I know this is crazy that I don't know off the top of my head, but I have to look up how many years we've been going. But we're going strong, and I'm so excited to add the film club to it. And I'm thinking that I'll probably do the ice maker. I'm so sorry. It's so loud. I swear I'm wrapping up, but okay, it's done, I think. I don't know if you guys can hear it, but it's very loud in my ears. So, and then I'm like, just in case you can't hear me over it, that's why I paused. But the film club, I'm thinking, will probably be the same week discussion as the book club discussion, but it'll be on different days and on different channels. But if you're looking forward to the film club, I will give you a spoiler and tell you that our first club watch is, oh my God, where is it? It is in honor of the Week of Weird, and I believe it is... Good thing I've got it on my little spreadsheet. It is Being John Malkovich for March. So save the movie for March if you want to join in, because the Week of Weird readathon is happening in March, like the beginning of March, the first full week. And Being John Malkovich would be the perfect movie for that readathon, because one of their prompts this year is to watch a weird movie. Now, I've already seen the movie. but I haven't seen it in like 15 freaking years. So all I remember is freaking him going, Malkovich, Malkovich. And so, like, that's all I remember. And that part was great, but I remember it being trippy, weird. So I'm thinking, so since that's the March Club watch, I'm thinking the discussion will be the first week of the next month. So when we get into April, I'm thinking the discussion of Being John Malkovich will be that first week of April, tentatively. I'm going to try to do it so that it's like something people can expect and keep an eye out for and know when the discussions are coming up. So hopefully we can do the same thing with the book club too going forward, even though this is like the second week in February. But I'll try to be better so that I also can remember more about the book. Oh, thank you. My handy butler brought me this mixed drink.
You say handy or handy?
I said handy, not handsy. Oh my god. Anyway, with that note, we are going. Yay, I'm so glad you're going to be starting that soon, Mindy. We should. I can make a buddy read section. Thank you for thinking of that. I will make a buddy read section for the horror. So anyone wanting to read the horror for Valentine's Day, I will officially make a buddy read discussion area on the book club Discord, the Midnight Book Society. The link should, I didn't do any description stuff, but usually my links are included below automatically. So you should see the Discord linked below if you're not already joined. So yes, buddy read tomorrow. Anyone who wants to join in, it'll be on the public book club. A little channel for it. Me too. I'm excited. I'm so hyped for it. The announcement with all the movies are coming soon. And another spoiler, I'm actually thinking it's not going to be quarterly and that I want to do it every month because that will actually help me to have content on the new movie channel, is to have these monthly book club discussions. So I'm thinking of changing it from quarterly to just making it, every month of the year. It just won't start till March because that's the only one I have picked out so far. Well, I've got every quarter picked out, but that was the first one I had scheduled in my head for the first one of the year. But I'm thinking after that I'm going to do it for every month. If you guys would love that, let me know. If you think it's too much, then I'll maybe, pull back. But I love it too. I'm so glad you guys are hyped. I think it's going to be a great movie to dissect and discuss. Oh, I can't wait. I know, I'm so excited. Hi, Butler Paul. I'll tell him hi when I go out there. Do it! Every month is great. You guys are up for it. I don't want to, because I know there's so many book clubs out there, and there's so many film clubs. Well, there's not really film clubs, but there's so many people doing things all the time, like readathons and yada yada. Even me. I'm including myself in this, that it might be too much, but I don't know. I just think it would help me with content, and who doesn't like a good movie every now and then, So I'm contemplating it. If you guys have more opinions about it, you can drop it in the Discord. Never too many with you. Oh, thank you. I'm never going to say no to more Kelsi content. Thank you. Oh, no, actually, it's going to help me if I do every month, because live shows for me are a little bit easier than the pre-recorded, edited huge tasks that make my mind explode sometimes. Yes, you do. You do your own stuff. And you do have a movie club where you watch weird movies. So that's why I was thinking movie clubs. You're the only other person I know with a movie club. Yay, I'm so glad you guys are up for it. That makes me a little more confident because I was playing around with this before I filmed the announcement video. So I think I might just announce it as a yearly thing, but starting in March. So I have to come up with some more pics. I'm excited. And editing does take forever, especially movie channel editing, for anything involving movies or TV. The B-roll. The B-roll. It takes so long to download it, to organize it, to find it and splice it in. It takes forever. So, but I'm having fun with the movie channel. I'm just really behind on pre-filmed videos. So please bear with me, guys. I'm trying my best. Luckily, I had this live show that helped me have something up on this book channel. But I appreciate everybody. And thank you again to anyone who commented on my latest video, especially about Jackson. I really appreciate it. And it means so much to me because so many sweet words has been a bright light in this really dark time. So I really appreciate that. It is, but it's been fun. It's been fun. Thank you. I hope everyone has a good day and a good Valentine's Day tomorrow. And it doesn't matter if you've got a significant other or not. Valentine's Day can be about showing love to yourself because you deserve love, especially on Valentine's Day, but every day, of course. That's your cheesy Kelsi goodbye for today, but I mean it. All right, thank you guys so much. I appreciate you, and I will see you very soon. Bye, guys.